We're here talking to the founder of eBash Video Game Center, Zach Johnson, and today's topic is around eSports. What's your background in sports and especially eSports?
I started, obviously, like a lot of us did at a young age, really working through the ranks of Little League and Biddy Ball up through junior high and high school, and then I went on to play collegiate basketball at Rose-Hulman here in Indiana. Division III school, we had some success my senior year, made it to the NCAA Division III tournament, and played on teams all my life, obviously. With esports specifically, 10 years ago when we started eBash, right away we started hosting Halo 2 LANs, a lot of different events for particular games. And honestly, it really kind of kicked off for us around a big event that we participated in with Battlefield Modern Combat 2 on the original Xbox. There was a $250,000 tournament that EA hosted. It was teams of 10, and we set up one of the rooms at eBash, and I recruited 9 guys so that we had 2 squads of 5 with TVs above each TVs on either side of the room so that we could see all of the squads throughout the room during our matches. And I believe we had the best setup of anybody playing in the tournament. Now, the guys that we played with weren't necessarily the most skilled, but we had regular practices just like a sports team. We came in, a lot of them were high school guys, so after school they would come in. We'd have 4 hours of practice every evening after school. We would schedule scrimmages against other teams. When the brackets finally started for that event near Christmas time, we had there was 128 teams on the Xbox side, and we finished in the top 3. Looking back now, we found out later there was a glitch in the game that other teams were utilizing for being able to have constant radar. So we were a little bit bummed to find that out later, that we kind of got beat by a little bit of a glitch. But needless to say, since then we've continued to run at eBash tons and tons of LAN events, paying out upwards of $5,000 for single events, and trying to support that esports community and helping it grow. I think one thing that a lot of guys miss, especially when it comes to teammates in sports, in esports specifically, you know, the camaraderie that comes with sitting next to your partner. A lot of guys are teammates with guys from different states, and I see this happen a lot where they team up, and a guy from Minnesota is on a team with a guy from Florida who's on a team with a guy from New Mexico and another guy from Maryland. And those 4 guys play through their headsets. They don't ever physically get together, and they don't know each other on a personal level outside of that game and their headsets when they play together in the evenings. What comes from traditional sports is you get up every day and you sweat with the guys every day, and you go through preseason training and you go through all those steps and those practices so that when you get down to game time, you've made a relationship with those players outside of the game of basketball or football or baseball or swimming or whatever else it is that takes you beyond just the sport itself. And so when you're in that game and you're wanting to put it all on the line, you give 110%. You don't quit on your guys. You don't, you know, it's not possible to move away and play in a different city and still be on that team with those guys at your high school. So I think the thing that a lot of guys struggle with when they're comparing it to other sports is they don't realize that that personal, physical interaction is super important to form that bond. The other thing that I've noticed, especially when it comes to esports, is that guys don't maintain themselves physically, which affects their mental state when it comes down to those long nights at a LAN tournament like we just had here at eBash Indianapolis. So you end up here at 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning and your body's tired, and if you're not in good physical shape, it tends to wear you out, and you mentally can't deal with things that come up in the game. So you go through a particular tough round in a game and you guys lose, and you start to fall apart as a team mentally because your physical fitness is not up to par with what a traditional sports athlete would be. So a lot of the most successful teams I've seen out there are guys that not only practice that game, whether it be Call of Duty or League of Legends or one of those, but they're out in the morning at the gym working out, and they are physically fit, which translates into their mental state, being able to process information and deal with situations later on in long tournaments that they can't normally deal with if they're not in that good a shape physically.